We're back. Oh, yes. The U.S. has hit the debt ceiling, and we still have the funding to be on air for now. By we, I mean Kristen Elanius, the queen of oat milk, and Damian Dunn, the king of bison. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hi.
Is there anything worse than a bad intro?
I was just trying to figure out if Dame's intro was some like play on words. So my brain was just, I get it now. But I was thinking like song, lyric, something.
Hello, Andy on Facebook Live. Dame, I've told you this before. Good morning, Rick Swink. Good to be with you, Facebook Live. Dame, I've told this story for you before. I was speaking once, and I was brought up to the stage with, ladies and gentlemen, the next Susie Orman, Pete the Planner. And I walked up the stage, and I'm like, I'm not gonna publicly, even now, I'm not gonna make comments on that. But that's a weird intro.
Yeah,
it's weird.
Yeah.
So something weird happened to me yesterday afternoon. I'm having so many people here today. Rochelle, Jason, Daniel, Danza, hello. I was having a lovely moment with my 13-year-old daughter, and she was like talking like a human. It was lovely. It was wonderful. It was like, wow, this person is not a gargoyle. And we're talking. We're having a good time. She's like, Dad, I want to show you some self-defense moves. I was like, okay. Yeah, I mean, whatever. Thank you, TikTok or whatever. So I stand up in the living room, and she just roundhouse kicks me in the stomach, and I'm just standing there. And I was like, Ollie, that's not self-defense. That's self-offense. I didn't do anything to you. You've committed a crime. And she's like, no, well, watch this. And then she like punches me in the sternum. And I was like, I'm not attacking you. This is offense. And so that was my evening, getting attacked by a 13-year-old that was showing me how she defend herself against someone not attacking her.
Would she do okay? Did she hit you pretty good? Or?
Yeah, it hurt. She's strong.
Yeah, she's a little gymnast. She's going to pack a little bit of a punch there.
Pilot Jeremy, hello. Dame, didn't we have a Pilot Jeremy question we were going to ask?
Yeah, I can't remember what in the world it was.
It was very specific about something a pilot would know or do.
If he's caught up, was it on air or was it it was while we were recording, wasn't it?
I don't know. I feel like it was in preparation for something else, but I don't know. Anyway, sorry. Jeremy, just if you're at 37,000 feet right now, just put us on the speaker for the entire plane to listen to.
Great.
Is that a thing? Could you do that?
Force people to listen to the show?
Oh my gosh. Hey, lady in 7B, quit using the armrest. It's the other fellas. I could just start calling people out. Oh my gosh. Oh, that'd be wild. That'd be more like a Southwest thing, though, where they're doing bits. They're working on their bits.
Yeah.
Those were funny.
Okay. Jeremy notes that he could do that once. All right. So today, fun little who came up with today's sort of theme, by the
Kristen,
way?
who do you think?
I know. Kristen's the only one that actually puts the work into this thing.
Yes.
Wait.
What?
You know why that is? Is it because if not, we have to come up with something on the fly, and that makes me want to be sick. So
no, I'm comfortable with either, right? Whatever, it's fine. Okay, so look, it's a defense mechanism, a little self-defense, if you will. It's the roundhouse kick to my chest. We are going to each of us are going to pick the personal finance hill we are willing to die on. A take that is so set in stone that we cannot be convinced otherwise. I will note, these are real. I'll note mine is real. I mean, Kristen, how real is yours going to be?
Mine is very real.
Dame, you and I know what yours is, and I know you and I talk about it all the time. How real is yours?
100%.
Okay. But in this, here's the thing. I like to be very open-minded, especially about personal finance, because I think what the three of us have learned in our dozens of years of experience collectively is that there's more than one way to do it. There just simply is more than one way to do it. So if I say it is this way, the reality is it's also another way. What we're saying today is with these three topics, it is our way or the highway. And the highway is not Tom Cochran's. Is it Tom Cochran? What's the guy's name? Life is a Highway?
Yeah.
Tom Cochran was a news anchor in Indy. Tom
Waits. No.
Boy, this just went off the air.
Like the song that Rascal Flatts covered for the movie Cars.
Yeah.
Life is a highway.
That's the one.
I don't remember who originally sang
Tom
Petty.
No.
God, get out of here.
I didn't say that. Danza did. I don't know who sings it.
Why is Rascal Flatts getting the
Tom Cochran?
Tom Cochran. I was right.
Yeah, you were right.
Joe Cocker.
I don't know who that is either.
Sarah, come on. Come on.
Other people might have done that song as well.
That's true.
Sure.
Okay. What are we doing? You want to start the show?
Suppose.
I was just waiting for the music to fade in, and we were just gonna, let Life is a Highway play, and we were all gonna go take a cigarette break.
I don't know. I still don't know if you're allowed to play songs on podcasts without paying for the rights to them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Because I'd love to have a few different songs. It'd be amazing. But
I did wear a special hoodie sweatshirt today that I'd like to share with the video audience. It's a teal blue sweatshirt with a stitched puffin on it, and you're thinking, what? Exactly.
Exactly.
I like it. My kids hate it. I put it on, and Ted just shook his head. He's like, "This is not going to work." I'm like, "What do you care? You're in 5th grade."
Did you buy that at a major retail store?
Not major, but yeah, minor major.
I was just curious if I missed a big puffin trend
I don't know.
that swept the country.
All right, let's do something here. I need to do timekeeping.
Oh, I don't need my calculator.
I was going to make a news announcement, but I don't know if anyone cares. But I kind of need to make it because if I don't make this announcement, then I don't have the level of pressure I need on myself.
Does it need to be now or on the actual show?
No. I think this is the better outlet for it. I don't know if here's the thing. Our podcast audience and live stream audience is A, much more engaged than our radio audience. And B, I just have a better sense of who the people are who are on the podcast. I feel this is weird. I feel much closer to our podcast listeners and our live stream listeners than I do the radio listeners. And maybe that makes me a bad broadcaster, but it is what it is. So here is the announcement. That is very self-serving and arguably egotistical. I'm working on another book project. So it's book number 12 for me. I swore after book number 11, I would never write a book again. And so there it is. I'm writing another book. It is not about personal finance, though. It is about a murder mystery involving a family from. No, I'm just kidding. It's sort of about personal finance.
And everyone listening right now gets a free copy. And everyone listening.
I'm not giving away 7 copies. Okay. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1. This week on the Pete the Planner Show, we're actually not answering your money questions this week. Here's what we're doing. Normally, we answer your money questions. We're like, hey, email us, askpete@petetheplanner.com. That's, hey, email us at askpete@petetheplanner.com. And then we'll read them. And then we'll be like, yeah, you know what? We're going to help you with personal finances without judging you. We're going to try to take into account what's going on in your life. We're not going to say, call us on Monday and we'll sell you things. We're just going to have 2 really highly intelligent people and me discuss your problem and give you a good solution. That being said, we're not doing that today. Instead, myself and my 2 co-hosts, we are going to tell you the one area of personal finance each, like we're each choosing one, the hill we're willing to die on. What is a take that we have about personal finance that we can't possibly see the other side of it? Because in personal finance, as you would hope, it's not binary. It is not this or that. It is all over the place. And in what we're saying today is there is only one way, and it is our way on 3 specific topics. enough of me. Kristen Elanius, Director of Education, is one of said co-hosts who is very intelligent. Hello, Kristen.
Hello, Pete.
And in no particular order, the second intelligent person on this show is Damian Dunn, and he is of no relation to mine, despite the fact that we share a surname. And he is the Vice President of Advice at Your Moneyland. Hello, Dame.
Good day, Pete.
Surname is last name, right?
I believe so.
I always feel like that's one of those things I just like. I'm destined to misuse.
Keep trying.
Okay. Did we decide who's going first here?
You said Kristen originally, and then you him-hawed back and forth that maybe it should be one of us.
Okay, let's do this. Kristen, we're going Kristen. So Kristen, this is a take that you can't possibly see another way to do it than the way the way you think. Okay, so set us up.
I'm a little nervous because I feel like there could be a lot of disagreement here, but just because something is expensive does not, and that's objectively, does not make it an investment.
Just because something is expensive doesn't make it an investment. Now, is there a hedge here that there are things that are expensive that happen to be investment, but
of course, it's just that, and maybe my millennial is showing here, but on social media, influencers or the influenced tend to make statements like, I bought this and yeah, it was really expensive, but it's an investment. It's an investment in blank. And then use that as justification for buying something that they objectively maybe couldn't afford. My walking pad that I use under my desk that Damien didn't know I had until like yesterday, it was a little expensive, but it doesn't make it an investment. Like, we talked about, I'm doing Invisalign. It's expensive, but that doesn't make it an investment. It's an investment in your smile or whatever. I just don't agree with those sentiments.
Okay. I've got so many things here. First of all, I do think this is a thing, and this is the thing that's been around for a little while. An example that I would have is an engagement ring that I would love to discuss. But I must start with, Kristen, what's a walking pad? What's a walking pad? Like, are we just gonna blow by? Yeah, I bought an expensive walking pad, and everyone in the world is like, "Huh? What's a walking pad? What's a walking pad?"
So it's just a little treadmill, but they're not made for high impact or high speeds or anything. They're meant to be used low and slow, and they're really low profile. And mine fits under my desk. So I have a sit-stand desk. So if I don't have a meeting or something and I'm working on video editing, for example, I walk on my walking pad at my house.
She covers a ridiculous amount of ground every day.
I cover no ground compared to other people. I follow this girl on TikTok who walks a half marathon a day, like on a regular basis.
Dame, what's an example of something that you hear that is justified as an investment because it's expensive and the person feels bad about buying it, but it is in no way an investment?
Jewelry.
Yeah,
in general. I mean, not just engagement rings, but like, luxury watches, luxury brand watches, very nice sets of diamonds or whatever they may be in the outside of engagement rings, but jewelry, a lot of cars, even just general transportation, well, it's an investment. No, it's not. It's, even if you're buying a classic, maybe it'll go up in value, might not. Those are probably the two biggest.
What words are people looking for when they say investment? Kristen, are they just saying this is a strategic purchase? But it doesn't make it an investment. Like your Invisalign is actually an interesting example, because I almost disagree with you about that.
Oh,
I think it's a strategic. It's at least a strategic investment. I mean, Dame and I are bald men. Like if we got toupees or something, that is a strategic investment in swag.
Swag. I do think it's just I struggle with. I think you can use the word investment, but I think that the way that it's used to justify the purchase doesn't necessarily work. Is it an investment? Is my Invisalign an investment in my like self-confidence? Of course it is, but that doesn't justify its expense by just saying like, oh, it's an investment. I don't know. I don't know what other word you would use though.
Speaking of confidence, an investment in your confidence, and this is way off track, but I just need to make a note. I read an article in the Harvard Business Review this morning, and that does seem like I'm just name dropping. but it's free. About not telling women to have more confidence in the workplace. And I had to like really check myself. Like, have I ever told a coworker to have confidence? Anyway, interesting. You mentioned confidence, and you're a lady, so I just wanted to acknowledge that I myself am not going to tell you to get an Invisalign to improve your confidence.
Is that the new "you should smile more"? Have more confidence? Is that the new one?
What if I went up to one of our female colleagues and I was like, I was thinking about how you should smile more, and it should start with Invisalign. What can you imagine? That's like a double whammy.
Does Invisalign count for HSA deduction?
Yeah.
There you go.
As someone who has I call it Jay Cutler face. I have a Jay Cutler face. I cannot stand that. Like, this is just my face. Leave it alone.
I want to point something out. I always view an investment as something that you're willing to sell. Mm-hmm. And so like an engagement ring to me is not an investment, because you're not going to be like, okay, honey, I do want to stay married, but can you pull that off your hand? I need to go sell it. Prices are looking good. Like, so that's not an investment. Someone mentioned here the idea of a primary residence. Mm-hmm. Now, I agree. For most people, it is not an investment. For some people who we have a dear friend and colleague who will move at the drop of a hat, right? Mm-hmm. For that person, I think she would view it as an investment and be able to do it. I wouldn't, because I don't want to move, right?
Yeah. Is maybe the line to draw in a lot of cases, if it's something you're using regularly, I don't think it's an investment.
Oh, that's interesting, right? Because it is a strategic purchase. Mm-hmm. But can an but maybe this is one of those LSAT things. An investment can be a strategic purchase, but not every strategic purchase is an investment.
Could be.
Did I just get into law school?
I think so. Congratulations.
Ooh, Andy just hit us over the head with a minute left. What about an education, Kristen? Is an education an investment? This is a whole segment. We're going to lose clients on this. Have at it.
No, don't put me in this position, because the answer is sometimes.
Boy, way to put your flag in the ground there. Dame, is education an investment? Yeah, I mean, it's got to be.
It absolutely can be. Now, whether or not that investment pays off is another story. So absolutely an investment in yourself, but you may have a really, really poor return on investment.
Dame, on Slack this morning to me, you had a really hot take about how much you spend on a school versus the type of school you go to. I'm surprised that's not your hot take.
That's my hill. Thank you for ruining it.
Oh, coming up after the break, more. I thought it was crypto.
No.
Oh, anyway, coming up the break, Dame's hill to die on. I messed it up. I'm Pete the Planner. Wait, I thought you were doing crypto.
No.
Wait, I wondered how you thought that your hot takes were going to overlap each other, but I just let it go.
Have you guys ever realized that I have no idea what I'm doing? I don't remember anything. It's dry January too, so like my liver is just like out there just filtering stuff. I read this whole article on what a liver really does. And my liver right now, it's like a Swiss Army knife. It's got a lot of purposes, even the little tweezers.
Peak liver right now for Pete.
What do you think the most useless Swiss Army knife classic tool is? I got to go with the off-white toothpick.
I'd probably go with the tweezers, actually. They're too flexible. There's just not enough grip there.
It said like a real man.
Just use the knife and cut it out.
Oh my God. What's wrong with you? It's a bee sting. Like, we're not trying to kill a 10-year-old. We're just like trying to get the stinger out. Uncle Dame says we're going to cut off your toe.
That's exactly what I said.
Kristen, no, that's what he said. What's the most useless Swiss Army knife tool, Kristen?
Is Leatherman a brand of Swiss Army knife? So if I'm thinking of a Leatherman, am I thinking of the same thing or no?
Yeah, we can go with it. We'll go with it.
It's much more robust.
Well, the blade is so small.
You know,
what are you using that for?
This is a knife. Crocodile Dame D back again. Rick Swink says the hook is useless. Now I'm gonna disagree and show my man card here for a second, which doesn't involve me standing up. Don't worry. I used to bird hunt. And I'm wearing a puff and hoodie sweatshirt right now, and so I don't want to feel like I have a complicated relationship with fowl. But I used to bird hunt, and there was a knife that I would go bird hunting with, because when you would then dress the game, which is a much classier name for what you're really doing to the thing, there was a hook. And sometimes you would actually use the hook on the knife to assist you with that, or you could just manhandle it. This got really violent.
It's a circle of life, Pete. It's okay.
I know. I feel bad about it now.
Shouldn't feel bad about any of that.
Oh, there's an argument going on in the Facebook Live. Jason and Rick may have like a dance battle. Jason says he uses the hook to open cans. Oh, this is so great. Anyway, isn't this a personal finance show? Dame, let's get into your segment here. Your segment. Okay. How long do you think this show goes on before it's canceled? Do you think we quit before it's canceled from the syndication people?
Oh, wait, you mean
what do you think?
The radio show side or the podcast?
Yeah, like the radio network. Are they like, yeah, we're done? Or do you think we're going to peter out first?
Nah, they'll cancel us. They'll cancel us first.
I don't know. Kristen, what do you think?
I don't know.
I don't mean culture canceled. I mean like business.
Yeah.
The show's been around a long time. I feel like it would be us, maybe. But maybe... Oh, yeah, this doesn't go on the air. Yeah, I feel like it would probably be us.
I bet I'll die, and then you guys will be like, we don't have the equipment. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's how it happens. Like one Monday you come in and there's a Slack like, no, dude, he got bit by a snake. He's dead. And you'll be like, well, I don't know the StreamYard password. You know?
Do you ever see the numbers, like how we compare against other shows in the market in Indy for our slot?
No, well, first off, it's a really interesting question. So here's what I learned you guys want to learn something today?
Yeah.
Be a first. So growing up and reading media, you always read about numbers and ratings. And, you know, as a 25-year Howard Stern listener, forever, all he ever talked was about ratings and being number one. And still a lot of the drive time people talk about ratings, and those books do come out. They're called books, which are just the ratings. For weekend shows, which is what we are, no one spends a lick of time seeing how anything's rated, because a lot of times on the weekends, the shows you're listening to are purchased by the hosts or the companies, and then they just put whatever they want. So the stations don't care what they're rated. However, there are shows like ours, of which we don't pay for. That we're part of the network, if you will, but they still don't look at our ratings. And so I used to ask all the time, Dame, back in the early days of 1430 News Talk, 1430 WXNT, all the time. They're like, that's not how it works. So I don't know our ratings. And also, to Kristen's point, I wouldn't look, because who really cares?
So essentially, as long as the station can sell ads for our show, they love us.
Yeah, you know, and I feel like we got into this weird period in which we seemed highly critical of types of companies that also happen to advertise during our show, you know, different types of financial advice or different products or this or that. And then I found myself going, you know, I still want to do the show. Maybe we should back off criticizing these people that actually pay for our show. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Anywho, I do have to tell you something, though. Do you want to hear something? Back when I used to do a lot of television, I don't anymore. It's the hair loss. There was this thing where one day, I'm not naming names, I'm not even naming stations, I was highly critical of car dealerships, right? Mm-hmm. So I did my thing, which no one cared about. I went home, went to my office, get a call from the general manager of the television station, like, Pete. And I was like, hello, person's name, because I use their name. And they were like, do you understand how people are paid around here? And I was like, bi-weekly? I didn't say that. And I was like, what are we doing? What are we doing? He's like, our number one sponsor are car dealerships. You cannot, under any circumstances, be critical of car dealers in any way, shape, or form. Oh. And I was like, okay. So that was my first glimpse into local news of like, it's not the wall between the sales and the newsroom isn't as tall as you think. Like this was in the early 2000s, which I just tipped my hand there. And by the way, that wall has come down lower and lower and lower and lower.
Did the hosts try to shut you down or get you off of that rant?
They looked awkward, but I thought they just had chili the night before, and they're a bean family, you know?
Yeah.
Kristen, our colleague Molly loves chili.
I love chili.
I mean, we're talking 2-3 times a week. She's just hitting that chili, and it's like, and she thinks that my insistence on pointing this out and now publicly on the air without her knowledge is because I'm anti-soup. And she thinks that like my thing of like, man, you eat a lot of chili. She thinks it's part of like this anti-soup movement that I'm a part of.
I wouldn't have called it that. I would think that you would say that it was like, well, maybe this is calling you out a little bit, but it's not like put together enough. You tend to put together
it's getting real.
You tend to put together fancier meals, and like you can throw all your chili ingredients in a crock pot and just let it sit there. I feel like that's how to keep the plainer meal.
No, I like a good homestyle meal. I don't like the idea. It might be anti-soup because soup is just throwing your stuff in water and being like, let's eat it now.
I will let the public know that I have sat across from this man at In-N-Out enjoying burgers. And so he doesn't have to have fancy food. He is
when he makes it.
I do like making more sophisticated food.
He can play on the common man level when he has to.
No, Jeremy, and I'm not answering that publicly, but the answer is no. Okay. Let's do a thing. Oh, I forgot to write down. Okay. Oh boy. Mm-hmm. Oh, let's start the segment. Dame, this is on you. 3, 2, 1. Back on the Pete the Planner show. It's the Hill We Will Die On episode. Each one of us will identify one personal finance opinion that we just can't simply see another way. Kristen's was that just because something's expensive doesn't mean it's an investment. In other words, people misuse the justification that something's an investment way too often. Dame, I tipped my hand as to what his was prior to the break. We'll call it a tease. I could also call it a mistake. Dame, what is the hill that you are willing to die on? What personal finance hill are you willing to die on?
I'm going to say this twice because it's a little long and you might take a second to get your head around it. But the cost of college has as much, if not more, impact on your long-term financial success as does the school you pick. So,
could you say it again? Because it's complex.
I think I will. The cost of the college has as much, if not more, impact on your long-term financial success as does the school you pick.
Is that an absolute for you?
I would be willing to hedge in maybe a couple scenarios, but for the vast majority of people, the cost far outweighs the name of the school that's on the diploma.
All right, paint the picture. Talk about the direct impact. Like, what are we talking about here?
So everybody knows the cost of school is going up and up and up, and really doesn't seem to be slowing down. And so what you end up with is graduating with a higher amount of debt, likely graduating with a higher amount of debt after 4, 5, 6, however many years it takes to get that bachelor's degree. You know, it's variable. That loan payment could hinder you from making substantial progress in your financial life early that will pay big benefits down the road. So you're tying up money in debt payments that could otherwise been going towards something else. Now, does the name on that diploma open additional doors for you? Maybe, maybe not. If it's just a general sort of degree, I don't think anybody's going to care whether you've got a big private school name on there or a state school name in most cases. So the cost, the debt that you are going to be saddled with is likely going to have a much bigger impact than whatever doors that diploma may possibly open for you.
Kristen, I got to think the exception here is a top tier school for a top tier student that knows their path. Because for those folks, it matters. For people that have no idea what they want to do, and they go from a low tier school to a kind of fine school like that. I don't know if that difference, but those people are also not getting into Ivy League schools. Do you agree with that?
I think that maybe and maybe I'm just kind of saying what you're saying, but in a little bit different way.
In a better way.
Well, no, it's just, fine. I want to make sure we're on the same page. But I think if you have additional school on this path that you're on, I do think the name that's on that first diploma matters. And I think where you fall within that graduating class absolutely matters. Because if you're, for example, if you go to an Ivy League school, we'll use like a big extreme. You go to an Ivy League school and you're ranked at the bottom versus if you go to a school that's not ranked and you're all the way at the top, you might be the best performer at a school that doesn't rank as high, and you might have spent a lot less money to earn that degree, and you might be just as competitive when you apply to grad school. Is that making any sense?
It is. I think I might disagree though, because maybe I disagree, because if someone applies to a job from Harvard, we'll just use Harvard because we brought it up earlier in the show, from Harvard, or someone is at Purdue, and it's in the non-engineering role. Okay, Kristen, don't look shocked that I'm going Harvard to Purdue.
That hurts.
Purdue is the Harvard of West Lafayette, but that's it. Okay,
True.
So I would likely, as someone who's hired a lot of people, I would likely give the Harvard person more credit because I would have no idea where they graduated in their class.
You wouldn't ask?
I've literally never asked that question.
Well, if the degree is directly applicable to what you do, I mean, I've had applications that have asked me for my GPA for my core curriculum, and that would give you Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Plus, I'm going to put it on there. So,
well, first of all, I think I was probably last in my college class, so maybe this is why my take is this way. But Dame, what do you? I mean, this is your point. Like, do you hire people all the time? Do you not look at where they go to school?
I look at where they go to school. I'm most interested in what they studied than what their numbers that come along with them is. But it's I don't this is the hill I will die on. I would much rather have
oh no, Dame. That was Krav Maga was going to be the hill you were going to die on.
It has nothing to do with your finances, but if Ollie wants some private lessons, I'm happy to come by and teach.
Fair.
It's do excellent students and excellent educations come out of high-end schools? Yes, absolutely. But you probably don't need to settle for the average person. They probably don't need to saddle themselves with that debt when a more affordable alternative will help them get there. Once you graduate and you get that first job, you'll really impress people with motivation and work ethic and attention to detail, and that can't be taught at an Ivy League school.
All right, but this is a great topic. I mean, I could actually talk about this for 3 segments. Dame, kudos to you. And Kristen, don't read into that because I didn't say that about your segment.
That's fine.
Dame, so first of all, before I go on a different point, can you answer the question, have you ever asked anyone where they graduated in their class or asked for their GPA?
No, I haven't.
I know that's not true because I would not have been hired here.
Wait, there's no way
you.
Dame asked you.
That's what I'm saying.
No,
No. I'm sorry. I misspoke. I know that is true. Like, there's no way he's asked people because I would not have a job.
Oh, stop. So Dame, I'm going to go back to the point I made a few minutes ago because I think it might be the exception. I think you're right if it's like a community college versus a state university. I think you're right. I think where it falls apart is the elite schools make this not true.
If you want to have an education degree, if you want to be a teacher,
sure,
is your degree from Ball State more valuable? Is your degree from Butler more valuable than your degree from Ball State if you were going to go teach in a public school?
Okay, so you are right. And Jason on Facebook Live just made the exact same point right after you, is that it depends on your career path. My brain was on people we hire. My brain was on business. But you're 1,000% right. It is definitely, I would hire a teacher from Ball State. I mean, that's your point, and you're right.
And Butler's a fantastic institution, don't get me wrong, but there is a drastic difference in prices.
So is the argument just really that the ROI has to be there? If you're going to have the more expensive degree, you have to make sure the return is there on your investment. It has to be a career path that like would care more than what we've said we would care here, or that you might be pursuing additional education and getting into grad school that carries more weight than maybe going into the workforce.
Yeah, what's your career path, and what's the ROI going to be on it? There's very specific degrees and careers that you want to go to certain schools because you'll more likely get recruited out of schools like that into a better job, a higher paying job, and that makes sense. But there are a number of degrees and careers that you don't have to spend nearly as much as you probably think you do in order to get the desired outcome.
Fascinating. Good job, Dame. If we had more time, I would also want to dig down to the quality of student that you are. Because if you miss on a lower cost education, there's less risk there in terms of money. Anyway, coming up after the break, the hill I'm willing to die on. It's going to anger you. I'm Pete the Planner. Yeah, Dame, that's interesting because I keep going back to let's say you're an average student I'm about to say something heinously obnoxious as opposed to just normally obnoxious. And excellence doesn't appeal to you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then absolutely go to the lower cost education, because if you end up having massive career failure consistently, you're on the hook for less. But if you really, really strive for excellence, and you can get into one of those high-end schools, depending on your field, I think we recently hired someone who graduated from 2 incredible schools. And I didn't hire this person because of that, but as I saw it, I was like, Jiminy Christmas, Mm-hmm. And by the way, the person delivers on that,
Yeah.
But that being said, I don't feel like one of the first things I look at where they've worked. I don't really look at where they went to school. Yeah. I don't even look to see if they have a degree, to be honest with you.
Andy makes an interesting point. There are a number of schools that are need blind, especially in the Ivy League school. I'm not saying you don't try and shoot your shot, and if it comes back that it's affordable, then yeah, absolutely do it. But the cost, the overall cost that comes down the line to you, or what you're going to be on the hook for, and how much debt you're going to have to take out if that's the route you need to go, that's the determining factor.
All right. I don't even think Jeremiah's here, but we're going to move forward, ignorant of his tastes. Let's move on. Okay, so I'm ready. I'm ready to expose myself. Well, my take. It's a podcast. You wouldn't see much. Okay. I like that Dame says, I agree with Andy. And then Andy just said in the comments, I agree with you, Dame. Andy, you just agreed with yourself. You played yourself, Andy. Wouldn't it be fun to hear Morgan Freeman say Andy's name like Morgan Freeman was saying Andy Dufresne in Shawshank Redemption? Wouldn't that be fun?
Couldn't we just have a clip of
Ramsey? That was a pretty good Morgan Freeman. And Ramsey. And Dufresne. You don't think that's a good Morgan Freeman?
The Andy Dufresne was pretty good. I can't.
Dufresne. And Dufresne. You keep talking over my Morgan Freeman, Dame. Shut your lips. And Dufresne. And Ramsey. Jiminy Christmas.
You didn't do impersonations when you were on stage, did you?
That's a personal question.
Okay.
I'm out here risking my career by doing an amazing Morgan Freeman, and you're going, blip, 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 blip.
Because nobody does Morgan Freeman impersonations. Nobody. So unique.
It's getting aggressive.
All right, let's start the segment. In 3, 2, 1. Back on the Pete the Planner show, it's the Hills We're Willing to Die On episode, which sounds inherently violent during cold and flu season. Basically, these are personal finance opinions that the three of us have that we don't see any other way than our opinions. Kristen, quick recap of yours. What was it?
Just because something's expensive does not make it an investment.
Dame.
The cost of college matters as much, if not more, than the name of the school on the diploma for most people.
And now it's time for me to drop a bomb on all of you that may lead to our show being canceled because I'm not sure the commercials that played during our show. Legalized sports gambling is one of the biggest financial problems in America today and will eventually have the impact that opioids have on our society.
Wow.
Hot take.
Okay.
That was
mean
aggressive.
It is aggressive. I mean it. I think legalized sports gambling is a horrible thing for our society. Now, I want to also make a libertarian point here that I think is important. In it, I think it should be legal. Okay. Like I think you can't tell someone not to do that. Right. I think that it can be legal, but I also have to say, I think it is one of the worst things that exists. And it's, just think about this. Since sports betting was legalized in the United States with apps and all these things, $161 billion have been wagered by just everyday people enticed by free money offers that think that they're moving themselves forward financially. On top of that, the indirect byproduct of all of this is how people invest differently, how Bitcoin has become gamified, how Robinhood has become gamified. I'm not tying red strings across a wall like I'm Carrie Matheson, having conspiracy theories here, but I'm telling you, it is all tied together. The fact that Bitcoin, the fact that Robinhood, the fact that legalized sports gambling are ruining people's finances, it is all tied together. And I will also note that it targets young men. As I think about how could this impact my life and my family, I have to think about how my 10-year-old son, when he watches sports or interacts with sports or anything, is constantly hit over the head with gambling. Like we never were. He's trying to watch NBA basketball, and before the game starts, the analyst is giving away a fake case of $20,000 if you can beat his bet. Like that's not a healthy thing. So I'm telling you, and I don't know if MP3s will still be a medium in which people listen to things years from now. I'm telling you, 5, 7, 10 years out, save this clip. I'll be dead. Save this clip. It's going to be true.
Ooh,
wow.
All right. So do you think what if the ads were just dialed back? What if gambling was still there, but it wasn't allowed to be advertised? Much like what was it? IndyCar had something like this at one point in time, didn't they? Where they couldn't advertise. Was it liquor?
Yeah, they couldn't do tobacco.
Yeah,
or liquor. Yeah.
So what if sports gambling was out there, but it couldn't be advertised? Do you think that would have a significant impact in the dollars wagered?
Yeah, I will say that a lot of industries have been supported by these generous gambling dollars. And by the way, I want to make note here because I the email's already going to blow up. But my opioid comparison is with respect. I'm not diminishing the opioid epidemic at all. I think if you read Empire of Pain, which is a book written by Patrick Radden Keefe, I know it doesn't seem like I know anything, but I do read quite a bit, is that the beginning of the opioid epidemic was really brought on by business decisions made by companies and marketers. That's how it began. It took advantage of people's addiction, right? That's the comparison. So hopefully people haven't turned this off and are calling me a horrible person. I mean, do so for other reasons. But it is a very valid comparison as to the choices that are being made. New York Times did an investigation right around Thanksgiving of 2022. Numerous stories. Dame and I was sending them to you, Dame, about how much manipulation is going on behind the scenes, how many unethical decisions are being made behind the scenes, from legislators to spokespeople, to the fact that now colleges and universities are marketing sports gambling to undergrads who are under 21 years old. Mm-hmm. It has the same roots as the opioid epidemic. Kristen, you asked for our hot takes here today. You did not realize you were getting a scorched earth Dame thrower of a take from me.
No, I didn't. So my follow-up question to you, I think other people might be thinking this too, is the gripe really and truly with sports gambling, or is it the fear of the gateway of gamification in all other facets, right? We're talking about the gamification of investing, Robinhood, etc. Is it sports gambling, or is it what appears to be the start of a very slippery slope?
That's a good question. I don't know if I can answer it succinctly. I will say I do believe the root cause to be sports gambling, right? And here's where I just can't get my head around this. And I'm going to summon a name that you both like based on your university affiliation. But you think about what happened with Purdue's football team at the bowl season, is that Drew Brees came back as a volunteer celebrity head coach, but then there became trouble because he's an endorser of sports gambling and he's affiliated with a college football team. And you think about all of those weird things. You think about someone like Peyton Manning, who's got hundreds of millions of dollars, but chooses to do Caesar's sports gambling commercials with his entire family to make sports gambling look like this fun family thing that everyone should do. Does Peyton Manning not need... Does he need the Caesars money? Does he not have hundreds of millions of dollars? Like, at what point does someone say, like, this is bad stuff? I am part of this entire apparatus that is hurting people. Now, the thing is, you hear how passionate I am about this, and you want to hear the weirdest part about this? There's zero impact on my family, close or extended. I know no one who is having a problem like this. I know people who sports gamble. I know a lot of people who sports gamble, but I know no one. I'm speaking with the passion of someone who lost someone to opioid addiction. I really am, but I have no horse in this race. I'm just telling you, this is what is going to happen.
What's strange for me, or what's interesting to think about, is gambling's been around forever. But it was always done, kind of behind closed doors, back alley. It was something that existed but wasn't prevalent, and now we are glorifying gambling, where it's cool, it's hip, it's something that kids are starting to do. And when you mentioned Ted, I thought, you know what, Ted knows a lot about basketball and is super familiar with it, and it wouldn't take much to convince him that, man, you know a lot, you could probably make some money doing this. I can see why you would be very concerned.
I don't know. This is the hottest take I've had in some time.
Yeah, it is. My bad.
Kristen, you look shell-shocked.
A little bit. I'm kind of surprised, to be honest with you.
This was my Hall of Fame take, All right, coming up after the break, let's bring the joy back to the show. Biggest waste of money of the week. Okay, we're gonna towel off after the break here. Calm down, and come back with a fun show. I'm Pete the Planner, and that's my hot take of the decade. You asked for it.
Not to put fuel on your concern, your fire of concern, but I would say that I know a lot of people who sports gamble, and
Me too.
The people that I know that would be of concern to me are the people who know more than anyone I know about sports, because that's where I think the danger comes in, is feeling like you know more than Vegas and you're going to bet big. But I will say that for the most part, I would say that in the past, I definitely had a similar take to UP. Like, why does anybody do it? But I think most of the people that I know that sports gamble throw the same $10 back and forth across the over and the under, just as entertainment while watching a game. So I don't have nearly as hot of a take on that one anymore.
Oh, that's fine. Like, if you're looking for an incredibly interesting read that reads like an action movie, but is actually a nonfiction book, Empire of Pain is one of the best books I've ever read. I mean, it really goes into like the history of the opioid epidemic. I wish I would have started there, because that way I could have maybe fought off some of the people who were going to kill me. But Dame, I think also the tobacco industry had the same thing. I mean, it was a similar element, and I just think that reckoning's coming.
I don't know. I trying to draw the comparison between opioids and gambling was a strong move. But sports gambling is a huge issue, and I do believe it will continue to gather steam, and we'll see some significant fallout from it. We'll see if there's a package to bail out sports gamblers that makes it through Congress.
All right, I will say this. Before you flame anyone leaves 1 star and how dare you, or before people go on Twitter saying what an idiot I am, I encourage you to read Empire of Pain, and then I encourage you to read the New York Times entire series of expose articles on sports gambling that came out on November 22nd of 2022, and tell me I'm wrong after that. Other than that, you're just reading the headline and disagreeing with it, but you got to read the article, folks.
Fair.
Kristen, is this what J.O. meant when she said I make you uncomfortable?
No, I don't think that that's what J.O. meant. I think it's when you guys ask me questions about people that I was dead when they were like famous, or I think it's more like that.
Wait, Dame made a reference earlier that someone pointed out that there's no way you knew who he was talking about.
I knew. I can't remember. I think it was
Morgan Freeman. You know who Morgan
I know who Morgan Freeman is, but I didn't know what was the movie you said?
Shawshank Redemption.
What?
Never seen that. That's going on Instagram.
What in the world? Have you never?
Timestamp 53 minutes.
How have you? I have one of my best friends. We were born 2 weeks apart. Been one of my best friends since 6th grade. For his birthday, as an adult, every year, his birthday gift to himself, which is just really weird, he watches Shawshank Redemption by himself every year as an adult on his birthday. Again, really kind of a weirdo. Very normal person. One of the weirdest things. How have you never seen Shawshank Redemption?
Well, for starters, I was 4 months old when it came out.
So?
Just saying.
Have you never seen any movies from before when you were born?
Not many, and I've not seen many from after I was born either. I don't like movies.
Okay, so you're not a movie person.
Not a movie person. Oh. It's a great movie. I'm stunned. All right. Well, we got to continue because I got stuff to do, Jeremiah. I got to collect myself. I'm so upset right now. Okay, here we go. Let's do the show and start now. In 3, 2, 1. This week's biggest waste of money of the week right here on the Pete the Planner Show is Dinosaur Dig by the Luminaire. The Luminaire has announced its latest travel experience, a luxury dinosaur dig at a top secret location in Wyoming as part of an exclusive partnership with naturalists, the National Natural. Wait a second. Say National Natural 5 times fast. Kristen, National Natural 5 times fast. Go.
I can't say it once. National Natural.
Yeah.
I can barely say it once.
National Natural.
National Natural.
Nautilus, the National Natural History Museum of the Netherlands, unearthed the skeleton of one of the largest dinosaurs, the Diplodocus, who gives us Saurus, working alongside expert paleontologists, participate in an active dig and help to shape the world's understanding of dinosaurs from the late Jurassic period. Staying at a luxury camp, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to uncover dinosaur bones that have laid buried and previously undisturbed for up to 150 million years. You seen that movie, Kristen? And with the option to take away a 3D printed version of the bone you uncover, you'll always remember the experience. A portion of the sales from each journey will support the work of naturalist scientists. These are scientists from the Netherlands that are digging in Wyoming. I don't know how this works. They're grave robbing. Dame, we're going to start with Kristen because she has a lot of talents. This is not one of them. Mm-hmm. Kristen, what would it cost to do a dinosaur dig?
Did you say how long it is? Is it just like a one-day deal or did I miss that?
If this affects your answer, let's just assume a week. You get to stay for a week and you have continental breakfast. There's free waffles in the Hampton Inn. I don't know, a week.
10 grand.
Okay. Damien, what do you think it costs to, violate the grave of these thunder lizards?
I will say $15,000.
Oh, I'm sorry. The answer is $34,780 to dig for dinosaurs. Not to get weird here, but I can tell you where the decrepit bones of a family poodle are if you're interested in digging up things.
So this thing has been in the ground for 150 million years, and they're just going to let regular old people help dig it up?
No, wealthy people.
Oh,
Kristen.
Sorry.
Not regular people.
These are not regular people.
Excuse me.
These are wealthy people. Check yourself. Dame, what's in the news this week?
Well, last week we mentioned that eggs are more expensive than ever, but OJ is squeezing its way to the top of the list of high-cost breakfast favorites. Florida is expected to produce less than half the size of last year's poor crop of oranges. That would be about 18 million 90-pound boxes. Guessing game time. Here we go.
Oh, boy.
The peak orange production in Florida was 1998. What percent has that production decreased for this year?
From 1998 to
1998, now? How many fewer oranges are they producing percentage-wise?
Okay, I have a guess, Kristen. What's yours?
40.
Okay.
70.
93%.
Ooh.
93%.
Is that real? Is that real or is that Pulp Fiction?
An ill-timed freeze, hurricanes, and citrus disease has caused the smallest crop in nearly 90 years.
I said, is that real or is that Pulp Fiction?
I know.
No one reacted.
No.
We're like the girls' soccer team, I feel.
Yeah,
Pulp.
We've moved on. We've moved on, Pete.
Fiction, Kristen.
I'm sorry.
In water is wet news, crypto lender Genesis filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection late last night in Manhattan federal court, the latest casualty in the industry contagion caused by the collapse of FTX. The company listed over 100,000 creditors in a, quote, mega bankruptcy filing, with aggregate liabilities ranging from $1.2 billion to $11 billion, according to bankruptcy documents. Pete, I know you like the phrase, crypto lender. And I feel similarly, of course, because we share at least one parent. But what about the phrase really captures your attention?
Well, first of all, I want to say that what you just said was funny, and I rewarded you with laughter and a smile.
Oh,
okay. And I'm just looking for a little reciprocation. But the term crypto lender is, how did anyone ever decide that was going to be a thing? It's a speculative asset class, and then you're going to tie debt to it. Like, Crypto lender, Kristen.
It's one of those, I don't know what to say because I felt like the writing was on the wall, and I don't like to be an I told you so kind of gal. So,
well, just wait until sports gambling takes down the world and I come back on here. I'm like, I told you so. Sponsored by FanDuel.
Jeremy might be able to give us some real good insight to this next one. Netflix is hiring a flight attendant for one of its private jets, with a successful applicant being paid as much as $385,000 a year. Streaming giant says it's looking for candidates with, quote, independent judgment, discretion, and outstanding customer service skills. They should also be able to operate with little direction and a lot of self-motivation. The advert added...
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
So advert added the team helps Netflix reach the world more efficiently and effectively so the company continue to create joy around the world. The average salary for a U.S. flight attendant, $62,000 a year.
So I think being a flight attendant is an incredibly difficult job. I'm just going to put that out there. I think I would put them on the spectrum of underappreciated professions like teachers, like on the spectrum, right? That's a lot of money.
a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. Like, how is someone that much better, 6 times better than the average compensated person at that job?
I have no idea. I wish I did. And to be fair, they are advertising a range of salaries, and I think I think the floor was around $60,000. So It could be anywhere in there. But the fact that they would go up to almost $400,000 seems generous.
Yeah, didn't New York Times put out? Gosh, I got to quit referencing the New York Times because they've just turned into that uber obnoxious person. But they did a thing on like around the holidays of like jobs that we did it on the show, like jobs that you don't know what their pay is, and then you figure it out. This Dane brought that New York Times story, so it wasn't me. It's on him.
It was me.
It's definitely on him. Man, that is a surprising number. Surprising number.
I agree. Can you put a price on love? Well, Match Group thinks so. Match is testing a $500 a month subscription to Tinder, according to Bloomberg. And while that Tinder feature is still in experimental mode, Match is moving ahead with a new subscription for Hinge, which is another one of its dating apps, rolling out a souped-up version for, quote, highly motivated daters that costs $60 a month.
I have all the questions, and Kristen, I'm turning to you. I don't know why. And here's why. Because I need answers, and there is 0% chance that Dame and I have any insight here. Just demographically, you have a better chance to have insight here. So that's why I'm asking you. Is that fair?
That's fair, yeah.
First, the question's a little off course here, and we only have a minute left, so we got to get to it. Are people embarrassed or ashamed to say they use dating apps? Is there any shame in it? I wouldn't think so, but I don't know if there is or not.
I don't think so, but in my circle, people who are on dating apps are they're like overly blasé about it. Like, oh, well, I'm on Tinder. So I feel like there is kind of some hidden shame there because you have to lead with that.
Yeah, because Dame, that's where I'm going with this is like, there has to be shame of I'm spending $6,000 a year to find love.
I guess it depends on the love that you find.
It's an investment.
It's an investment. Exactly.
Seems like a gamble to me. We tied the show together. Okay. Robert, over the top rope off of YouTube live comment, $500 a month. Should it be called Tender with TENDER? Wow, Bobby. Wow. I don't know if anyone calls you Bob. Kristen, thank you for your hot take. Dame, thanks for yours. Ashley, I'm sorry about the email this week that you're going to have to sort through. Good. Sending everyone else good vibes because good vibes are all that's in the budget. I'm Pete the Planner. This is Pete the Planner Show. You think our email inbox blows up?
No.
No.
I think there will be maybe one bad podcast review.
Yeah, I say you'll get a bad podcast review.
Hey, can you not send it to me, Dame?
Yeah.
Oh, having a perfectly good day. Oh, hey, Slack from Dame. What's to say? Everyone hates you. Oh, my day just took a turn.
Just one person. It wasn't everyone. And they were wrong, by the way. Totally wrong.
Did I give you an update on that, by the way?
You told me about last night.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
There's the update. Kristen, you're not going to get it on the air. I'll have to wait till we go off the air because I don't need to get
that's fair.
in trouble again. I was telling a friend this week. I went to lunch with her yesterday. She was like, "How long do you think you'll do the radio show?" That's sort of why I sort of asked. And I said, I honestly, I don't know. This isn't like me quitting the show. Don't worry, everybody. Or
You're fired.
Yeah. No, I just like, it just means something different to me than it used to, right? I mean, that's not a surprise, and it shouldn't be a surprise. I've been doing this since 2009, right? But I say what gets old is like, I'm not trying to offend. I'm not trying to have hot takes other than today. But then when someone listens to 5 seconds of the show and then tells you you're a terrible person because of like that, gets old. Like I don't need that aggravation. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. I was pointing out to her, if anything ever ended the show, it would likely be that, which is also why I don't read my email.
You pay somebody else to.
Book recommendation of the week, everybody. I'm going to give one here. It is a book called, I don't know the name of it. I just know
it was Empire of Pain.
There's a second one.
Oh.
Well, yeah. Well, this is what I'm reading now. It's David Goggins' second book. It's called Never Finished. Oh, Kristen is not into this.
No.
How can you not like David Goggins?
David Goggins and Jocko just like aren't it for me.
That's fine, right? By the way, I think you know me pretty well, and you wouldn't think that I would like that.
That's fair.
I think it's interesting because it's a completely different perspective from me and how I think. And so Never Finished. It's David Goggins' second book. I liked his first one, and this second one's pretty good. Although my colleagues, including Damien, were mocking me the other day because I tend to listen to audiobooks at a frenetic speed.
It's impossible. I do not. There's no way.
Okay, I'm going to play the speed of which I listen to audiobooks, and I need to make a couple points here before you listen to it, because otherwise you think I'm crazy. Number one, if I listen to it at a normal or even slightly increased speed, I will daydream. I will get distracted. I will lose track of what I'm listening to, and so I'm constantly rewinding, and it's frustrating. So what I discovered about myself is if it's so fast that I have to be 100% locked in, then I don't lose focus and I get through the book faster and I can still digest what I'm listening to. Do you buy that, Dame?
No.
I mean,
and wait till you hear it. I have zero reason to be concerned about copyright issues because nobody's going to understand what's being said here.
I want to offer you the chance, Dame, in a safe space. Are you calling BS on that I do this? Are you calling BS that I can still, like my wife does? She says there's no way at that speed you can get anything from the book.
That second, Mrs. Planner and I are in arm in arm on that one.
Okay, here we go.
My mother knocked on the door. While we waited, I scanned the yard. My grandparents had a big property, a full acre of land, including a wide, perfectly manicured lawn with train tracks running along one side. There wasn't a blade of green grass out of place, and not a single weed in sight. That should have been my first warning. While my dad was convinced that my grandparents had been behind our escape from Buffalo, he didn't witness our arrival, or my grandma.
I got probably 75% of that.
You weren't thinking hard enough.
Maybe.
I'm telling you. So here's, if you're running or exercising or whatever, hiking, and you just are locked in, you're not on a phone, you're not driving where you have to deal with stuff, you can lock in. And I'm telling you, for me, it's the better way to go.
To me, that's more of a consumption experience than an enjoying experience.
Jeremy, that is both funny and not funny. And so we are not going to acknowledge your comment. Anyway, that's the book of the week for me. Although, here's what I'm starting next. No one cares. People probably don't actually care.
Are we turning this into a book club?
I don't know. I'm into reading right now. All right. That's all I have. Dame, Kristen, thank you for being part of whatever today was. Everyone else, stay getting money.